The current retail landscape, it's interesting because it's been more disrupted because of the pandemic, but also there's a lot of supply chain risks we're seeing. And people have come to expect low cost, it's there when I need it. We got more ways to buy stuff than we have ever had ever. It's been a really great system that to some extent is threatened by a lot of supply risks. You know what led us to do working on secondary markets? Secondary markets are an incredibly important part of the U.S. economy. Secondary markets are a little over 3% of U.S. GDP. And until 2020, until the pandemic, the size of the secondary market in the U.S. was quite a bit larger than all of e-commerce revenue put together. Since 2008, we've been tracking the size of the secondary market, and there just hasn't been a lot written. And so we were noticing that China's secondary market has developed quite a bit since we've been studying the US one. And so we thought it'd be interesting to compare those two. And I do think further research needs to be done on this topic of secondary markets. I mean, think about it. It's 3% of gross domestic product. And it's a global thing, and it's also sustainable. It's one of those markets that actually save product from going into landfills, being destroyed, and so on. It's great to get additional uses out of a product and actually make some money on it. I think secondary markets are tremendously important. I mean, if you think about how much retail is e-commerce, until 2020, it was really around 10% of retail. And secondary markets are larger than that. It's a really important part of the U.S. economy and clearly is continuing to grow around the world. So we're seeing it become more and more important, not just in the U.S., but around the world in places like China.